So hello YouTube. This camera is always way too low. Anyway, I have this thing in front of me. This is like from 2008. It is a Toughbook by Panasonic. And yeah, the battery still holds. It's useless, but I decided to share it with you anyway. I kind of googled for this and well, to be honest, I searched on YouTube and I did not find anything. And you know, it was whopping 300 pounds when it came out. It was like in December of, I believe, 2007. And this is actually not special in any way, except, well, first of all, fucking battery works. Yeah, these days, 1 year later, battery is no. Let's take a look at the device itself. Okay, first of all, the thing that's special, you could probably kill somebody with this thing. This thing is made out of magnesium and plastic, and it should be waterproof, I guess, and it should be, well, drop proof. I think that officially it's 4 foot. I'm not quite sure, 4 foot drop. I don't need to Google about it. And by 2007 standards, I believe that it's not special in any way. To be honest, I kind of liked it, and I'm not quite sure if I would ever use it, you know, for, well, whatever, because you cannot even connect this thing to the internet. And I searched the official webpage for the updates. This is Windows CE 5.0. I mean, I could connect it to the internet without using any kind of encryption and whatnot, but I have no use for it. So instead of it, I'll open it and we'll take a look at what's inside. And again, I am so impressed that battery still works. I have a Toshiba, which is 2.5 years old, and the battery does not work, and this one does. I just charged it and it's been up for, I don't know, some time. The official, well, when the battery was new, this thing should be working for like 14 hours or something like that. I am not quite sure. So you know what, let's take a look at the device. So on the left side we have, of course, protected headphones and microphone. And there are 2 separate jacks, and not this modern bullshit. Kensington lock, and I believe that nobody will steal this thing from you if you lock it. And one cool thing is, you have this pencil which you can actually put on each side. So that's kind of cool, you know. And it is on this springy plastic. Kind of cool, you know. Nothing on the sides. This is, I believe, for the dock. I might be wrong though. And here we have an SD card. Again, everything looks, and by the way, this is like, so this is 20, this is 13 years old, and this thing looks like a brand new thing, so fuck yeah, I don't know what to say. USB 1.1, LAN connector, probably 100 megabit, and the DC input. And in here we have, I believe that this might be plastic, I'm not quite sure, but we have antennas, so probably Bluetooth, and it had Bluetooth 1.2, and B/G 802.11 standard, so yeah, kind of default. And on the bottom there are a couple of warnings. The first one is that the LCD lamp contains mercury, and I believe yeah, danger high voltage, because, well, this lamp needs to be driven by something. So this is the model, you can take a look at it. And yeah, we have some holes for, well, the speakers. And yeah, on the front we have power button, which I have accidentally pressed, and this bloody thing is booting. But yeah, as you can see, it boots very fast. Cursor, this is the keyboard, which is actually, you can toggle it on or off, which is kind of cool. And the user button, there you have it. So this is, yeah, it says that it's connected to Wi-Fi, but it's actually lying. So I'll walk you through the interface, but you know, there is nothing much to show. Let's open the control panel itself, sorry. And there is nothing much inside, you know, accessibility, backlight, devices, buttons, you know, configurations, certificates, date, time, there is nothing much. And the flicker you see is due to, probably due to the, well, 50 frames a second, and this thing might be 50 or 60, who knows. You can connect the mouse and keyboard, and this thing has been used is an RDP, so it would be kind of cool to have, for example, Windows 10 on this thing, if you could RDP. But then again, you would have to update this thing to Windows 2003, I believe, and then lower the well, security settings for the remote desktop. So I'm not quite sure whether this thing is worth it or not. Let's take a look at the software a bit. I did already show you control panel, but you have a battery, and again, the original battery lasted for 14 hours. Now this one is 13 years old. and it's still working, so you actually get 7 hours out of this thing. I'm not quite sure whether this thing is telling the truth, but even if you do get an hour, imagine 13-year-old battery in the future lasting an hour. Yeah, it won't. Right click, input panel selector, control panel, and the stylus calibration. And that's basically it. There are some commands installed. Yeah, and by the way, take a look at this X button in here. It actually looks like it's upside down. So they took this thing from XP, and I don't know what they did, but yeah, X. The configuration is quite interesting. The CPU is, I believe, Intel PXA 270, and that CPU is actually kind of a, you know, they advertised it as MMX CPU because, you know, MMX was the big thing at the time. The CPU clock ran from 104 megahertz to 624, and this thing has declared CPU clock as 312 megahertz. So go figure, it might have been you know, limited, I guess, because this CPU has speed step, and when I open it, I'm actually opening just to see what's inside. I'm kind of interested to see whether the first of all everything is soldered on, or for example if you can actually remove the internal storage. It is quite small one. It has, I believe, 64 megabytes of storage and 64 megabytes of RAM. Not quite sure about that, but I think so. And the resolution is standard 1024 x 768, which was at the time, I guess, normal. Now, in today's standards, this would be 380 pounds. So, but then again, a pound was way stronger back then. So, you know, yeah, not a cheap thing. But then again, just the idea that this thing is working on batteries, and the battery did not die. As you can see, this is still on. It's quite, you know, impressive. So you know what? Let's open it and let's take a look at inside. Now again, I'm not quite sure what would I do with it, but yeah. And preparing to power off. Yeah, and there you have it. And this thing boots insanely fast. But then again, the idea was that this thing should boot insanely fast. So you know what? Well, let's open it. Well, by the way, all screws are actually normal screws, and you know why? Because this thing was probably made to last, and no bullshit was applied when creating this device. And you actually do get warning in here that the LCD lamp contains mercury. So this is not a LED but an LCD, and you know, not a bad device, you know, but I guess useless by today's standards. But I do like that every screw is the same, and they are no bullshit screws. I believe that Nintendo actually might have been the first company that started with the bullshit screws. You know, to remove the battery, it's so easy. And this, impressive. And by the way, the battery kind of looks brand new. So this is the original model, 7.4 volts. If you do need the replacement battery, this is the model and strength and whatnot. I will be removing these two as well, but I do believe that there are antennas underneath. It kind of makes sense. And you know what? In 2007, I believe that 2007 was actually the era of AMDs and 64-bit CPUs. So this thing was not, I won't say this thing was the, I mean, okay, it was, you know, very strong and sturdy and whatnot, but I'm not quite sure for what they made this. Take a look at this thing. Attention to details. There is a spring pulling the cable. Seriously. Plasticky spring. You won't get this thing today, definitely. There is nothing much inside. You know what, first of all, I'll unscrew this thing and I'll take the camera off the stand and we'll take a look at the components. But yeah, this main board is very small. But to be honest, I mean, I kind of did not expect too much, but yeah. Okay. So I'll even remove this sticker. Okay. Is there anything underneath? Yeah, you know what? Let's just remove the entire board and take a look at this thing. So this is the entire motherboard. So let's take a look at inside. This card is the for, well, headphones and microphone. This one is for Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So obviously one antenna goes in here and one antenna goes in there. And this one is for, well, everything else. The power connector, the LAN, which is 100 megabit, and this one is the USB, or they're swapped, I'm not quite sure. And this is for the SD card. So the battery and only one puny speaker. I believe that this thing sounds like shit. I might even test that, but I'm not quite sure whether there is need for it. I mean, nobody will buy it now. But to be honest, I kind of, yeah, they're expensive. They're still expensive, so 400 pounds, seriously. Okay, this one is actually 19, so no, but this one is 205 pounds. And yeah, as you can see, 300 pounds, definitely not the cheapest device there is. Oh well, go figure. The screen itself is nothing special. I mean, it has a lamp, the attached screen is this part. So yeah, let's take a look at the motherboard. The motherboard is impressively small, but then again it has nothing inside, so you know, I guess I should probably not touch this thing, but yeah. So this is the main processor, which is the Intel 270, so this one. I believe that these two are some kind of memory. This one is the DRAM, which is, I'm sorry, I'm holding it upside down, I'm an idiot. So this one is DRAM, so I guess this might be for the well, GPU and whatnot. This one, the THC, is actually LVDS, so low voltage differential signaling. And on the back there are some chips. This one is actually for LAN, so obviously it says LAN 981, so it's 10 and 100 megabit LAN. This one in here, which is VM9712G. It's actually highly integrated, so it is for sound, touch, for communications, microphone, so all in that one single chip. Some diodes, nothing special in there. And which one do we have left that's actually meaningful? This one is, I believe, power management IC, the Maxim one. Yeah, I mean, that's the entire computer. But nothing special. I'm not quite sure for what this thing is, and there you have it. So yeah, it was kind of cool to open it. I kind of expected more, to be honest, but then again I did not. The battery is dead because every time you turn it on it asks you for date and time. This is the cable, flat cable that goes to the dock, and I will be assembling it and turning it on, but yeah, there is nothing inside. So 300 pounds for this, or 380 in today's dinero. So yeah, there is nothing much to show. If you liked this video, please click thumbs up. If you did not, you know what to do. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask them down below. Yeah, it's a cool device, but yeah, I guess back in those days it was useful for something. I mean, for RDP this is definitely a useful thing. Maybe controlling some kind of machines, I guess. And since it is drop proof and waterproof, so yeah, kind of cool thing. But you know what, I'll assemble it and yeah, until the next time, you know.